games. They're all too easy.
Well, those are all the games I brought, dude. Well, check with Mars Girl. I'm pretty sure she brought some Japanese games over.
Those are all JRPGs in Japanese. I can't speak the fucking language.
Well, then go check out JewWario.
Oh, hey, Jason, what's up?
Hey Justin, how you doing? Listen, I'm looking for a game I can play. Something challenging yet easy to get into, but it can't have a lot of Japanese in it. Alright, so what's this game?
HolyDiver. It's a platformer that was going to come out in the US, but it never made it. Was in magazines, was all ready, but something happened and it just wasn't released.
Like a lot of other cool games.
Yeah.
In relation to the Ronnie James Dio song?
Some people say no and some people say yes. Personally, I think it's all about that. I mean, the main character is named Ranny R. Crimson.
A mix between Ronnie and King Crimson?
Oh yeah, and the other characters are Zach W. Zach Wild, anyone?
Yeah, pretty blatant if you ask me.
Yeah, no matter what Wikipedia says.
Okay, so what do I do?
Okay, but I'm warning you, it's hard.
Yeah, whatever.
No, you don't understand. It's a really hard game. HolyDiver was a video game released by Irem for the Famicom on April 28, 1989. It incorporates elements of many games of the time, including platforming, Magic, Dio, and Castlevania. Yeah, if you look closely, you can see that the game has elements of Castlevania and Getsu Fumaden. And some sprites even resemble sprites from one of Konami's other games, Contra.
So basically you're saying this game is one gigantic ripoff.
No, not at all. Sure, there were a lot of elements from other things here, but the game is more of an homage than a ripoff. HolyDiver is wholly unique.
How so?
You'd have to play it to understand what I mean.
J-Dub, I don't speak Japanese.
Yeah, right. I guess I should explain what's going on. The controls are pretty basic fare. Left and right moves you in that direction. Down makes you duck, and up causes you to throw a fireball up. The select button toggles the current magic spell on and off, but we'll get to that in a second. Start pauses the game. You jump with A, and B throws your fireball, and triggers some magic spells. See, it's not hard at all.
Well, if it's not hard, why am I here?
Well, the controls aren't that hard, but the gameplay itself rivals Castlevania 3 pretty much.
Well, CV3 was pretty varied. How's this one stacked up?
Pretty well, I'd say. You've got a ton of spells to work with. Blizzard will freeze some enemies and lava. Breaker is a lot like your default fireball, but it uses your mana to deliver a larger blow. The overdrive spell causes mana to encircle your character for several seconds, acting like a shield. Thunder is like the one in Zelda 2. It kills all the enemies on the screen. And finally, Twin Fire doubles the attack power of your regular fireball and lets you fire it across the entire screen. Oh, and did I mention the items?
What items?
There are lots of items for you to discover in this game. There's the basic stuff like the one-up doll and the heart, which do exactly what you think they do.
Give you an extra life and more ammunition for your sub-weapon?
Well, yes and no. I mean, the heart actually refills your health.
I'm stunned.
Well, alright, smartass. Prepare to be flabbergasted. The bracelet lets you break some blocks with your fireball. The cape of protection halves damage that you take by your enemies. The dragon carving, found in later stages, lets you become a flying, menacing dragon. The jump boots
let you jump higher.
And the life potion
completely refills your health.
And the magic potion
completely refills your magic.
Well, do you know what the wizard staff does, huh? Do ya?
Just let a 17-year-old boy whom you forced to do housework for his entire life steal it and turn you into a house cat?
What? No, that's not what I mean at all. Look, why don't you just play the game and play it until you win?
That I can do. First off, to beat this game, you need to know one thing. This game is a hybrid of Zelda 2 and Castlevania. While movement is slightly more forgiving than in Castlevania, it's much less forgiving than Z2. The same holds true for your weapon. Your Fireball gives you a great amount of flexibility, but at the same time, it's not as easy to use as Link's sword. The enemies are, well, relentless. They do not stop respawning, so your best bet is to keep moving. The only reason you have to stop is to get by a particularly difficult section. Otherwise, try to move past everyone without taking too much damage.
Now, this game is mostly about boss fights. Yes, the stages are very difficult, especially later in the game, but they're more like Castlevania difficult. The levels are linear, and the difficulty comes from the random kill zones from the constantly spawning enemies. So we could explain how to get through each level. It's just that getting through each level usually involves moving left to right, and that's not a very entertaining explanation.
Wait a second. We?
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought that since you were part of my video, I could be part of yours.
Fair enough. Have you beaten the game?
Not exactly.
How far did you get?
I got to the Satyr once.
The Satyr. The boss of the first level.
Hey, don't you judge me. I had to work at GameStop trying to convince people to put down $3 extra for insurance that they'll never use because it's a stupid idea. And you just want... Yeah!
Okay.
Alright, that's what I thought. So, well, now what do we do?
Well, since we're not going to be talking about the levels, since they're so linear, why don't we tell them how to kill the bosses?
Okay.
Right. So the first boss, the Satyr. Part goat, part human abomination, and a nightmare for platforming novices. Before this fight starts, make damn sure you've triggered your magic spells on, which will engage Twin Fire. Head left and the beast will appear, which will give you enough time to shoot it in the head. It'll charge at you, jumping over you. Once it lands, just turn around, jump up, and shoot it in the head.
That seems awfully mean, shooting a goat in the back.
Mean, but necessary. Eventually, the goat boy will turn around and start shooting fireballs at you. Run away from them until the goat man is just off screen. They'll then return to the same attack pattern of charging, jumping, and throwing fireballs. Keep shooting the Satyr in the head until he explodes.
Oh, wait, Satyrs don't explode.
They do in my reality.
Okay. How about we now jump to the boss of level 2?
It's a hard level where you need to avoid dragons.
I never got here before. That sounds interesting.
It's very interesting. It's also very linear. Let's just talk about the parasite. This guy isn't friendly, not in the least. He spits blobs of acid in sets of 3. Your job here is to hit the parasite in between the sets before Rainy dies. The trick to this battle is to make sure you have full magic before you start the fight. You'll absolutely need the Twin Fire in order to get past this guy. Since Twin Fire lets you fire from across the screen, it makes avoiding the acid blobs that much easier. If you don't have enough magic to use it, or you run out, you're going to have to get in close and blast the parasite in the face. That means taking a ton of damage from acid spit. Well, keep it up though, and you'll eventually take him out.
So, stage 3, I think I heard that it has a carnivorous plant for a boss?
In the room where you face the plant, there are 6 holes. 3 on the roof, 3 on the floor. 2 pink plants will appear in these holes and disappear during the fight. Your goal is, obviously, to hit them. They've got 3 main attacks. First off, they move across the room, releasing worms that bounce around the place. They have a spread shot that only fires when they're at the top of the screen, and they have an arcing shot that only fires when they're at the bottom of the screen. Really, beating these guys isn't as difficult as you might think. Just take care of the worms, shoot the plants when you can, and avoid the bullet fire.
Eventually, though, you'll beat the plants and move on to stage 4. Fight your way through this one, and you'll face off against an icon.
And this is where the game earns its UW stripes. If you've ever played Rondo of Blood, you'll know just how impossible that final boss is. Well, this is similar. One false step and you're toast. There are 4 floating platforms you can stand on, and only one spot where the stage boss is vulnerable. While the boss itself doesn't really move, the fight is incredibly difficult for one reason. In order to avoid the attacks, you have to jump between platforms.
So, in other words, you're gonna die.
A lot. The strategy here is simple. Attack the eyes as they rotate into their vulnerable position with your twin fire or breaker magic. You can also use the overdrive magic to cut down on some of the incoming fire. You're going to need pixel perfect precision here to kill this guy. Once you beat him though, you'll get the honor of playing through stage 5.
The honor?
Well, yeah, this level is ridiculous. The enemies are insanely fast, tough as nails, and your patience will be tried. Now, as a rule of thumb on UWW, if a stage is difficult, the boss is generally a pushover. Not this one. This time you get to fight the embodiment of evil.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it's not even the final boss. The vulnerable part here is the small ball in the middle of 3 circling pieces. So you can imagine that just hitting this guy's weak spot is going to be a chore. The best way to deal with the protective portion is to use the breaker magic, since it goes right through it. The trick here is to never stop moving though. You absolutely must avoid the fireballs, otherwise you're not going to last long. Keep firing at the enemy until you see its attack pattern change. At this point, he'll gather himself up and bull rush Rainy. Use your overdrive magic when this happens, which will allow you to hit the enemy as you jump over his bull rush. Keep it up, and 15 hits later, the dude on the cross will drop down a hole, and you'll jump in after him.
Which brings us to the final stage. Number 6, the Black Slayer. There are 2 different routes you can take, but they both send you to pretty much the same location, and they're both incredibly difficult. Either path is laced with enough baddies and horribly difficult platforming sections you want to tear out your hair. You'll eventually be able to fight against Black Slayer.
This fight is nasty. There are a bunch of hazards, like spiders and spinning nails that can hurt you, and there's also a boss to take down. Your goal is to destroy the various appendages. The quickest way to do that is to use your thunder magic, and when that runs out, twin fire. Keep it up, and eventually
you'll turn into a dragon and take on the final boss's second form.
Yes, the second form. There's always a second form. It's never as easy as just beating the damn game. Now, is it? First things first, avoid the green bubbles that the enemy shoots out, then line up with your enemy's eye and start attacking as fast as you can. Repeat this process until...
That wasn't so hard now, was it?
Actually, yeah, it was. This is one of those IRM gems that makes you want to kill a fat man wearing a Giants jersey just off camera because it was so damn difficult.
Well, but the game was a lot of fun, and I mean, people who like the Castlevania series will really dig this game. But the people who play Symphony of the Night, probably not so much. But it's a really rare game, and you can find it online for less than 25 bucks.
Why are you telling me this?
HolyDiver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea. Oh, what's becoming of me? Ride the tiger. clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get away, holy diver.
There. See, that wasn't so hard now, was it?
Actually, yeah, it was. This is one of those IRM gems that makes you want to kill a fat guy wearing a Giants jersey just off camera because it's so damn difficult.